Hey, welcome to day 3. As you can see, it's Jammy Day. What do you think? All right, yeah, not that impressive, but that's okay. We're going to start today off with a couple of jokes. So, give me the paper. What do you have to do to get good help? Okay, what do you call an alligator in a vest? An investigator. Okay. Then how about what did the snail say when he hitched a ride on the back of a turtle? Whee! All right, I'll work on it. Before we get to our story today, when we come back to school, one of the things we're going to be talking about is matter. So I want to give you guys kind of a heads up on what matter is and how matter works. Matter is the thing that makes up everything in the world. So when you hear people talk about molecules and atoms, what they're talking about is matter. There are 3 different states of matter. Okay, the first state is a solid. That's the first type of matter. Think of it as 3 types. So a solid piece of matter is something like this piece of chalk. A solid is something you can pick up, you can hold, it has a shape. So the chalk, something you pick up and hold, has a shape. This board over here, it has a shape. It's solid. You can't push your hand through it. This kid over here, this kid is a solid. She has a shape you can touch and see. So these are things that are solids. Solid is something you can touch. It has a definite shape. The other form of matter is liquid. Now liquid, kind of like a solid, you can touch it. It has a shape, but the problem with liquid is liquid takes the shape of whatever you put it in. For example, this cup is a decagon, meaning it has 10 sides. So the water has the shape of a decagon. It has 10 sides. If I take it and pour it into this cup.
Mr. Mikelson, careful. Please don't get water on my floor.
One hand washing video. Okay. I pour it into here, and it's got more of a cone shape, meaning it's round on the sides and flat on one and flat on the other. So it's like a solid, meaning you can touch it, but the shape depends on where you pour it. Now, if I pour it out on the floor, and I'm not going to do that, I learned my lesson from the first video. But if I were to pour it on the floor, the shape would be flat because it would just spread out everywhere. So liquid is the second state of matter. First state of matter is a solid, like this piece of chalk. Something you can touch and it has a definite shape. The second state is liquid, has no shape. It takes the shape of whatever you pour it into. Now the third state is the weird one. This state has absolutely no shape. It's not something you can touch and feel. It is gas. Now, when I say gas, I'm not talking about what your mom pours into the car to make it run. That's actually a liquid, believe it or not. That's gasoline. Gas is the air that's around you. So, the only way you can really see the gas is if we put it in something like this balloon. Now you can see the gas in here takes the shape of whatever it's put into, and it's actually in there. It's not like this is empty because I can't push any harder than that. So gas is something that has no shape. It goes pretty much wherever it wants. You can put it in a container though. So you've got solid, pick up, hold, touch, has a definite shape. Liquid takes whatever shape you pour it into, but it's kind of like a solid because you can touch it. Gas, can't really touch, but it will take the shape of whatever you can force it into. So those are your 3 states of matter. Solid, liquid, gas. And we'll be talking about those 3 states when we get back to school, whenever that is, hopefully soon. All right, time for our next chapter of Junie B. We're doing chapter 3. We'll see how long my children survive. We're doing chapter 3. And chapter 3 is all about carnivals. And if you remember from when we talked about nonfiction text, how can I find that chapter so easy? The table of what? Contents you should know by now. All right, chapter 3, table of contents, ready. All about carnivals. Mrs. took attendance. Attendance is when you say the word here, only I didn't feel like saying it, so I just raised my hand very flimsy. Are you feeling all right, Jeannie B? Mrs. asked. She's okay, said Lucille. She's just mad at me because I kept on beating her at hopping. Yeah, only I already explained that to you, madam, I shouted at Lucille's face. Mrs. clapped her loud hands at me. Judy B. Jones, that'll be enough of that. I put my head on the table. This day is a bummer, I whispered to myself. Mrs. stood up at her desk. Boys and girls, may I have your attention, please? I would like to talk to you about a special night coming up at school on Friday. It's called Carnival Night. Does anyone know what a carnival is? I do, said that Jim I hate. A carnival is like what they have at the state fair every year. There's lots of rides at them, like a Ferris wheel and a tilt-a-whirl and bumper cars. Yeah, and there's a shooting gallery with fake ducks, said Jamal Hall. And there's a cotton candy that rots your teeth by eating big black holes in your protective tooth enamel, said a boy that I really liked named Ricardo. Ricardo's mother's a dentist. After that, a crybaby boy named William stood up very shy. And he said one time he rode a scary roller coaster and he didn't even cry that much, except for he accidentally threw up his chili dog. Then Polly Allen Puffer told about carnival food that he threw up too, like a candy apple, and caramel popcorn, and a rubber band. Except for that's not food, that's office supplies. I raised my hand. Carnivals are rip-offs, I said, because one time my daddy kept on trying to knock over 3 balls with a ball, but even when it hit him, they wouldn't fall down, so then he and Mother had to call the cops, and also Eyewitness News at 6. Mrs. laughed out loud. Yeah, only that's not a laughing matter, Mrs., I told her. She stopped smiling. Well, of course it isn't, Jeannie B, she said. But I promise that nothing like that will happen at our school's carnival night, Jeannie. All the games are going to be run by parents and teachers, and there will be hundreds of prizes to win. I sat up a little straighter. Hundreds? I said. Hundreds, she said. Yeah, only I don't even know how to win them, I said. And so Mrs. got out a piece of paper that told all about the carnival games. Well, let's see, she said. It says there will be a fishing booth, a penny toss, a moonwalk tent, a putting green, clothespins in a bottle, a basketball shoot, a ring toss, and a booth where you can throw wet sponges at our principal's face. Just then, room 9 started laughing very much, because throwing sponges at principal is a dream come true. Mrs. kept on reading. It also says that Mrs. Hall, the art teacher, will be painting faces in the art room, and our very own room 9 is going to be a cakewalk. I jumped out of my chair. Hey, guess what? Walking on cake is the funnest thing I love. Because one time at a picnic, I stepped on my grandpa's little Debbie snack cake with bare feet, and the creamy filling was very squishy between my toes. Goonie, shouted that Jim I hate. You Goonie Bird Jones. You don't walk on a cake. A cakewalk is a game where you win a cake. Right, teacher? Right? Mrs. made squinty eyes at him. Yes, Jim, but we do not call people Goonie Birds. Calling people names is rude. Plus, if you want to make a comment, I would appreciate it if you would politely raise your hand. Like me? Right, Mrs.? I hollered out, because I raised my hand very polite, and then I told you that carnivals were rip-offs. Remember that? Then a lot of other kids shouted that they were very polite, too. And I had to stand up on my chair so I could be heard. Yeah, only they can't be as polite as me, right, Mrs., right? Because I said it first. Right? Then Mrs. rubbed her head a very long time. And also, she took an aspirin. And I know how Mrs. feels. Chapter 4 is called Very Practicing, and we will do that one on Monday. And time for our number talk. I want to give a shout out to Romeo. Romeo not only sent me a video for the Making 20, which he did 19 plus 1, he also sent me a picture of working out this problem here, which was 43 plus 10 gives you 53. because remember, you're moving down the tens chart, so 43, 10 more, 53, and then 53 with 20 more, moving down the tens chart 2 times, 53, 63, 73, so we get 73, which was nice job, Romeo. So, sorry, I need an eraser. All right, so today's number talk, what we're going to talk about today is kind of the same thing that we did yesterday, but we're going to add a little more to it. So, I'm going to start with one of my favorite numbers, 43. And I'm going to add 10 to it like we did before. Now, if we're adding 10 to it, we're moving down the tens chart just like counting by tens. 23, 33, 43, 10 more makes it, 53. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And we just bringing the ones down because as you can see with the group of 10, we're not adding any ones to it. So I'm going to add 30 more to this one. And like I said, this is just like yesterday. We're just kind of keeping the same thing for a second. And then we'll get a little harder. So 53 and 30 more. We're counting by tens once again. 53, 63, 73, 83. Now, what happens if we throw some ones in on this? That's where it gets a little more difficult. So, I got 43, and what we're going to do is we're going to break this down just a little bit to start with. 43, and let's say, just like before, we add 10 more, a group of 10. So obviously you already know that's 53, we just did that. But if I add 3 more ones to it, are those ones going to affect that group of 10 at all? No, they're not a group of 10, they're just ones. So 53, and you can just do that with your fingers. 53, 3 more, 53, 54, 55, 56. So 10, a group of 10 and 3 ones, my really smart kids will be able to figure this out, and they better all be able to figure it out because they're all smart. A group of 10 and 3 ones, 10 and 3 makes what number? Right, 13. So when we say 43 plus 10 and then 53 plus 3, that's the same thing as 43 plus 13. So if you can do this, you can do this. Because you know that 40 and 10 more is going to make that 53. And then the 3 more is going to make that 50. Whoop, almost wrote it backwards. 56. So here's my challenge for you. By the way, nice job. All right, here's my challenge for you guys. Email me the answer, Class Dojo me the answer. However you want to get it to me, just get it to me. You can put it on a carrier pigeon. I hope it gets here, but that's probably not going to work too well. Let's start with 64. And let's add, just like we talked about, 13 to it. So remember, in order to do that, you're adding a group of 10 to it, and then you're tacking on the 3 ones and adding them to the one side. So what could that answer possibly be? Email me your answer or Class Dojo it to me. Send smoke signals, however you need to get it here. And I will see you Monday. Monday is our next day. Monday is hat day. See if you have a good hat to wear when you watch the video. Thank you guys so much and can't wait to see you all again.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.